my first tier list, and I've been wanting to do this. Yes, I am live, and I wanted it to do it this way because it's the best way to do it, you know? And here I have a couple of characters that, I consider to be the top tier characters in the game. But that's just my personal opinion. You may think they're, or, your opinion might be different from mine, but that's okay. But we're gonna start off with number 10. And the thing is, right, the setup right now is the setup's a little bit different because I'm doing it on my phone and I'm gonna eventually get it to look the way that I want, but that's beside the point. So first person I want to put on the list here, let me explain it before I get to the list. So basically I'm trying to make sure I cover all of the classes and at least get one person from each class that's in the game. So we're gonna start off with number 10, obviously, which is I'm gonna put Teresh. Teresh and of course the counterpart Panda, right? The reason why I put them two is because at the end of the day, when you think about the tank team, they do rule PvP. As of right now, it may change depending on when you're watching it. But you know that when it comes to the tank team, they pretty much rule PvP. And without Panda and without Teresh, the tank team isn't the same because the tank team without Teresh and them not being able to get in the back line, they're not that devastating. Yes, Panda could be sturdy and he can cause some damage, but it's not the same because with them, if they get stuck, so for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. If they're going against summoners, they get stuck on not Durelli, Duragon and what's his name, Gobo, they can't get past them. They're gonna be stuck there. They can't touch the people in the back, so they're gonna end up losing that match. But that's where Teresh comes in. He throws, the enemy in the back line. You pretty much notice if you use Teresh. So that's kind of why I put them at number 10 because the viability in PvP and also, outside of PvP, Teresh has his values. But I always say that his strength is his weakness. For like newer accounts, you may struggle because you want him to be a frontliner, but you don't have somebody good for him to throw into the back line. So that's why I put Panda and Teresh together at number 10. And then, that if you don't agree with that, see the list first before you jump to conclusions. Because again, I want people to be commenting and interacting with this so I can either update the list or move on from there. So next, I'm actually gonna put Aries. Aries is sorry. Aries is number 9. The reason why I gave Aries number 9 is because out of all the vanguards, there really isn't much there. Bato's is alright. Barag at Immortal 5 is pretty good too. He could be an honorable mention, but Ares was one of those characters when he first came out. We didn't really know much about him. I kind of write him off, but now I see his value. His value is in PvP. Like outside of PvP, it really isn't that great. Yes, he's good in Thundercliff because that's why he was created for, taking down Thundercliff. And even with Thundercliff, I don't even use him, which is very interesting because I beat 10 and I don't really use him. But he's the Lord of Apocalypse in PvP, which is, I went back on what I said about him not being that great because he's one of the few characters that can take down a max Caraxia team by himself. So for that alone, he has to be on the list. And if you don't agree with me, like I said, when it comes to my list, if you don't agree with me, comment down below and let me know. So for number 8, it's actually 2 people because again, these two, they don't go hand in hand, but it's not really a tandem depending on how you use them. I'm gonna start off with Arcadia and Jaina. I put them two together because again, I said that I'm trying to cover at least one hero from each class, and this is where Arcadia comes in. Rebecca could be here too, but I didn't really add Rebecca to the list because again, Arcadia brings something different to the table, where if you actually pair up Arcadia with Teresh and he throws her to the other side, she actually gets that damage reduction because Teresh is a Windfear. So that's kind of somebody you can throw if, for the newer players, if you have Arcadia and Teresh, you don't know who to throw. You throw a Cordy over there, she does decent amount of damage depending on her level, and it'll help in her survivability. If you're running Miranda, she'll pretty much come back to life twice, which is pretty cool. And then we have Jaina. Jaina is pretty much a glass cannon. She can destroy a team or end up dying very fast. And in the beginning, when she first came out, a lot of people were putting her in the front line, and she was just ultimating and pretty much dying off of that. But overall, outside of PvP, she does a lot with the Gill Hunt, and that's kind of why I have her all the way back here, because again, her survivability is what made her be number 8 on the list. If she could survive as long as Nord, she would be in the top 5. I'll tell you that right now. But moving on from there, let's see who else we got. So for number 7, I'm actually gonna give it to Anpu. I'm gonna give it to Anpu here for number 7. For him being, again, the reason why he's all the way back up here is because you need Cervelli to really, or he has to be on the summoner team. The way that I'm making my top 5 is that you can work on any team. And that's the way how I'm looking at it for my top 5. So with him, he needs Cervelli to really get him going, or some summoners around him for you to get out that big damage. Because at first, when I first got Ampo, I'm like, what is this damage that everybody kept talking about? I brought him to EX30. I didn't really see that damage until, Sif came out and, Durelli was out. So, obviously he doesn't really get too much damage from Durelli, but he works well with Sif because of the pebbles, the pebbles dying really fast, which helps Sif, and they work right off of each other. But this is kind of why I put Ampu here. Obviously, he has a big stun, he has knockbacks. He's one of the only few characters that have knockbacks that are not Hunter. So for that, for those reasons, and him being able to work in PvP and PvE, for that reason, this is why he landed at number 7. And for number 6, let me look. I'm sorry, this thing is like so sensitive. But for number 6, I'm actually gonna give it to the new guy here. I'll give it to the new guy. The reason why I give it to, I call him Zeus. The reason why I give it to Zeus is because what he brings to the table. So he basically shuts down Teresh's, passive that he does in the beginning. And, if you put him with, he could probably work with the summoner team, because again, vanguards tend to do very well against the summoners. So putting him with the summoner team, he is going to stop and interrupt the vanguards from moving forward. Obviously, after a while, it will change. And obviously, the AoE damage that he puts out, I'll make content around him, but the AoE damage that he puts out, and also I made a short about this. You should go check it out. It's very quick. That he pretty much can shut down some of these bosses. So he'll shut down the boss. If he does ultimate hits the boss, he'll shut down their normal attacks for 5 seconds. And 5 seconds is very critical if you think about it. So this is why he had to be on the list, because of the fact that he's a damage dealer / support, and all of the damage that he brings to the table for AoE, man. If you bring this guy to Immortal 5, I can only imagine what he's going to be doing in PvP, man. So again, after that, for number 5, we're going to move on. We're moving on quickly. I'm not trying to take up too much of your time. For number 5, I give it to Kusanagi. Makoto, I'm saying it wrong, Makoto, MK for short, right? I give it to her because, again, I like heroes that work outside of their class. She does a lot of damage. In the beginning, when you first get her, if you're a new player, you're probably not going to be able to pick her up, because I doubt her banner is ever going to come back. But if you were around during the collab event and you got a copy of her, she's very squishy at lower evolutions. She's very squishy. And until probably she'll get to Immortal 1 and 2, that's when you kind of stop seeing the squishiness. And of course, I'll talk about her not her counterpart, but the person that will work well with her to prevent some of that squishiness. Because, again, Makoto, definitely one of the top assassins in the game. And obviously, I'm making this list before the new assassin comes out. So I am going to end up updating this list once the new assassin comes out. So definitely having her in the top five because again, for the damage, the squishiness would is what pushed her back here because if you can't survive in PvP, in PvE she does pretty well, but in PvP if you can't survive, you're gonna end up losing. And again, like I said, I try to cover at least one of each class in here. So for number four, I'm gonna put Purin. The reason why I'm putting Purin is because she works on every team. She works on every team. She works with support. She works with the Vanguard. She works with every team you could possibly think of. You want to have her. Bring her to EX30. If you have her right now, you're a new player. You want to invest all the way up to Immortal. Get her to EX30. Don't play no games with this character because, again, the value that she brings, especially for PvE and PvP. In PvE, you pretty much just need to have her in there and make sure you have resonance on her because that way she gets her ultimate out faster. And this is why I say getting her to EX30 so that way you can get your energy regenerated every 10 seconds. 10 energy every 10 seconds, which is great. And with her at first, I was a little hesitant, but after I started using her and you have the right prototype, I think I'm blanking out on Flashpoint or what, I forgot what the other prototype that works perfectly with her because again, right, if you have that prototype, the prototype says that if the heal exceeds your health, then you get a shield. So at the beginning of the match, you pretty much will have shields on it. This is why I run her with Accordia and Teresh. So when you throw Accordia over there, she's sitting in a shield and she's taking reduced damage. But this is why I have her here at number four. And, this is where it gets a little tricky because a lot of people are going to probably disagree with me on this. But I'm going to put Nord at number three. I'm going to put Nord at number three. For my reason being, yes, Nord is an amazing character. I just finally picked him up. I started the game when Nord's banner was up. But I was new to the game, so I didn't really understand the summoning system. There wasn't really no explanation. I wasn't watching content on YouTube, or I wasn't even in the Facebook group. So if you're new to the game, make sure you join the Facebook group, the official Eternal Evolution Facebook group. They'll definitely help you. If you have questions over there, people will answer it. And if I see it, I'll answer it myself. But don't forget to comment down below if you have any questions. But the reason why I put Nord here is because, again, he got power crept. And, Nord is still good. Don't get me wrong. His banner's live now. If you're watching this later on, his banner's probably not going to come back. We don't know. He was a paywall character for a long time for a reason. And this is why I have him at number three because, again, his survivability is great. He's great in PvP. He's great in all forms of content. He's kind of like that of Purin. He can fit into multiple teams. And this is why I say for my top five, you should be able to fit on any team. You shouldn't be limited to, you need to be summoners, you need to be this, that, hunters, whatever the case may be. Nord, Purin, Motoko can fit on any team. And then we're going to move on to the top two. So number two, I'm actually going to give it to Sif. The reason why I give it to Sif, and you're probably like, wait, but why didn't you put Nord at number two? I put Sif before Nord because, of course, Sif does crazy damage. And if Sif dies, Gobo's still alive. If Nord dies, that's it. It's over. So for that reason alone, too, yes, the survivability is there. But if you can't get to Sif, you're not going to stop Gobo because, again, you kill Gobo, she can bring him right back. So for me, the way I look at it is Sif. I have Sif on my free-to-play account. If you haven't checked out my free-to-play series, it's in the my playlist down there. Go check out the Let's Play Eternal Evolution playlist, and you'll see my free-to-play account. So with Sif, again, she brings to the table Gobo that does, once she gets to EX20, which is great. You don't have to bring all the way to 30. You need to bring her to 30, but you don't have to. So, that's when Gobo starts doing AoE attacks versus single target. So, EX20 Sif is good. And EX30 just makes it even better because Gobo gets bigger, he does more damage. And for me, I was already sold on Sif the moment that I read her kit and what she brings to the table. Just the fact that, she can bring him back to full health versus respawning. It's not like Senway, where he has to constantly resummon Shadow. Yes, if Senway dies, Shadow still stays on the battlefield, but Gobo is completely different. Gobo goes into rage mode. He starts doing more damage, and there's the pebbles which reduces her damage and all of that fun stuff. But we're gonna move on. I want to make this video as short as possible. I don't know how long I'm going, and that's kind of the things that I need to be able to see how long I've been going. And number one, it's obvious. It's as clear as day. You should know this. It's one of the main assassins in the game. I don't know if he's gonna get replaced by the new guy, but I highly doubt it because of his main function that he does is his star. When he throws his star, when he throws his star, he gets the crit or the crit damage that is done into the star, and that's why his damage is so big. So number one goes to Dominic. There's no question. You can debate me all you want. I don't really see nobody better than Dom in terms of what value he brings and where he can be, or where there's no question. Dominic is the number one character in the game as of right now. It could change in the future, but I think it's still going to take a while for him not to be on the assassin team. Maybe this new assassin could bring something to shake things up. But one thing I do want to cover is the new assassin that's coming out. That would mean that you could possibly run 2 assassin teams. Like, think about it. Because if you can run Dominic with Rick and maybe Caraxia, which is fine, and you can run the new hero plus Makoto, and you could either go Helentis or bring the old man Bailey back. You never know. And I feel like you're gonna probably see more double assassins in Hell Arena. Definitely, probably not Galactic Arena, but more Hell Arena, because you need that 14. And that was a problem that I ran into once I took Teresh and put Teresh with Accordia. So now I need a 14, and I'm definitely gonna summon for that new hero once I drop that video. But I just wanted to say this is my tier list here. If you don't like it, comment down below. Number 10 being both Panda and Teresh. Number 9 being Ares. Number 8 being Accordia and Jaina. Number 7 being Anpu. 6 being Zeus. MK at number 5. Purin at number 4, Number 4. Nord at number 3. Sif at number 2. And then, of course, we're going to round it off with Dominic. I almost call him Daniel. Dominic being number 1. So this is my tier list. I am going to try to work on a better setup because I'm looking at it right now and I don't really care for how it looks, but I'll try to find a different tier list that's more appealing. But if you like my content, you already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I want to thank you for watching. I try to make this as short as possible. I could go deeper into the characters, but if you want me to do that, you know what you got to do. Comment down below. Until the next live, and hopefully this tier list gets shaken up a little bit. Peace.